Hello, dear students. Today we are going to discuss our next literature chapter, Stopping by Wood on a Snowy Evening. It is composed by Sir Robert Frost. Robert Lee Frost was born on March 26, 1874 in San Francisco, California, and he died on January 29, 1963 in Boston. After spending 40 years as an unknown American poet, Robert Frost became known for his works, including The Road Not Taken. Robert Frost was an American poet who depicted realistic New England life through language and situations familiar to the common man. He was a special guest at President John F. Kennedy's inauguration 1961 and also won 4 Pulitzer Prizes for his work. Stopping by Wood on a Snowy Evening is one of the celebrated poems of Robert Frost. The poem is all about a lonely horse rider who paused for a bit during his travel to behold snow falling in the woods. He is much moved and elated by the scenic beauty of the snow covered wood. His journey on horseback is a journey of a human symbolically. One pauses at some point of life to retrospect and then move forward to the destination. He ends the poem with the realization that there may be loveliness of the view, but life does not mean this. He has provides to keep and must take his journey on before gets his ultimate rest. During the composition of another poem, New Hampshire, he got the inspiration of the poem Stopping by Wood on a Snowy Evening. It is a poem written of 16 lines equally divided into 4 stanzas with 4 lines each. In this poem, Robert Frost cleverly brings a comparison between the civilized and to that of the natural one. Here, nature is presented true, beautiful, and soothing one, whereas civilized world is mean of pain, suffering, struggle, and so on. Now, my dear students, let's start the explanation of this poem Stopping by Wood on a Snowy Evening, line by line. Whose words these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. So, my dear students, in the very first stanza, Robert Frost talks about woods, which may be an area where there are many trees, but the area does not belong to the narrator or the speaker of the poem. He, on his way, suddenly stops in a woody area of someone else whom the speaker knows. Even the speaker knows that his stopping in that area will be unknown to the actual owner who lives in the village. In the last line of this passage, to watch his words fill up with snow, the poet here describes the cause of stopping in this area, and this is to watch the beauty, the magnificence of the wood filling up with snow. My dear students, Sir Robert Frost depicts the theme of obsession in this poem. These starting 4 lines therefore express a totally obsessed mind, and the reason of obsession is the term beauty, which is very common in the case of obsession. The poet may want to exemplify the thousands of people who pass their whole life hankering after beauty. These kinds of people do not make a quest for objectivity, which is the beauty in itself, as the realm of objective beauty is far away from their thinking. They cannot be a true seeker of knowledge which lies in objectivity. An obsessed mind never understands that its obsession is merely subjective and it is totally pointless. This obsessed mind therefore stops thinking practically, just like the traveler in this poem stops in an area where he should not stop and stare at the beauty of that place. Here, the speaker stops in a place which is not his own and of another people known to him. He thinks that there is no harm in stopping here because the master of that place will not see him. So, the speaker gets into a prohibited area. The universal human nature of curiosity is here depicted. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. So, in the second stanza, Frost introduced the little horse to symbolize the conscience. This little horse is anxious for his master, who has stopped in a place where there is no farmhouse near. The last two lines give a description of the evening and the surroundings of the place. So, the place is distant place, as there is no farmhouse near, and the evening which seems fascinating to the speaker is the darkest evening of the year, as the poet here says, the darkest evening of the year. As here in the third line it is described that the place is between woods and the frozen lake. So, to rest in the place like this will surely be dangerous. But to the horse rider of this poem, all these darkest evening, frozen lake is not seem so dangerous, as he is obsessed with the beauty of the place. But his little horse in fact seems conscious about the danger of this place, and it is surely not obsessed like its master. My dear students, as I told you previously, that the poet here introduces the little horse to symbolize the conscience. So, with the help of the traveler and the horse, Frost here want to give us the suggestion that if humans are considered as a traveler in his life, their conscience should be the vehicle of them to travel all through the life. Only conscience make human to think about right, wrong, and so on. So, as we can see here that the horse rider is not thinking that there is no farmhouse near and it will be dangerous to stop there. But the horse thinks it queer to stop in a place like that. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. Here, in the third stanza, the little horse shakes its body to make his master think about the mistake of him. Here, Frost wants to describe that when the consign fails to show its master his fault in an easy way, it compels hard to raise its voice inside him. So, what we find here that the horse shakes its body, and this shaking is very significant as this is the last thing a consign can do to make the human mind realize. By this shaking, the horse has tried its best to shake the whole thinking of its master and make his master rethink. The last two lines of this stanza again remind the reader about the danger of the place as there remain the sounds of snowfall. My dear students, though the snowfall seems beautiful to all, but we should not forget that it has a dreadful freezing effect in its surrounding. So, if the rider would stop for a long time in its surrounding, this freezing area would be harmful for the rider. He may die also. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So, my dear students, in the last stanza, the poet depicts the realization of the human mind that he is in the wrong path and he remembers what he really needs to do. Here, the rider realizes that the woods are lovely, but they are also dark and deep. So, the darkness and the depth clearly suggests here the danger of the place. And finally, the rider remembers his promises, which he has to keep, as it is written here, but I have promises to keep. These promises can be the promises to himself to make his life worthy, or the promises to his family or the friend or somebody else. Or, my dear students, it may be his responsibilities which he says his promises. Now, at last he remembers them by the attempt of his horse, or you can say his consign. So he says that he knows that he has yet to travel a long way before he sleeps. My dear students, if we considered sleeping here as his death, the idea seems more clear. So the rider is here saying that he must sleep someday, but he must go on traveling as long as he possesses his strength. He has to go on living life before he dies, and he has to make his promises kept meanwhile. He has to pass through all the obstacles and falsehood in his way to make his life worthy before he dies. He must fulfill his goal before he dies. Now the poet ends the poem here. Actually, in this poem, Frost not presents just a traveler. He presents the universal human character, and here lies the significance of the journey of human life. Now, at last, My dear students, I want to tell you all that with the help of this poem, Robert Frost wants to give us a message that in our real life we have many things to look at with awe, many things to enjoy, but in most cases we can't simply because we have other things to do in our short lifespan. So we have to move on, my dear students. We should not be tempted by our surrounding, and all of us should fulfill our duties before our time ends or before our death. One must concentrate on fulfilling his promises and accomplishing his duties without being distracted by the pleasure of life. Thank you and goodbye.